Do you ever feel like you're constantly torn between building a successful career and, actually being happy? Well, what if I told you they aren't opposites at all? What if they're both skills you can learn? Today, we're going to unpack the incredible wisdom of Naval Ravikant, a Silicon Valley legend who has some pretty radical ideas on how to master both.
It's a story we all know, right? You've got the high-powered executive who's rich but totally miserable, or the free-spirited artist who's happy but always broke. It feels like this unavoidable trade-off, a choice you have to make. But what if that whole way of thinking is just wrong?
And this is where Naval drops a game-changing idea on us. He says that getting wealthy and being happy, it's not a lottery. It has nothing to do with luck or where you came from. They are skills. And just like learning to code or play an instrument, they can be learned, they can be practiced, and eventually they can be mastered.
Okay, so let's start by digging into this central conflict. Why does chasing wealth so often seem to pull us away from being happy? What's the real paradox we're all dealing with here?
It's because we're being pulled in two totally different directions. On one side, you have the money game. That's all about creating real value and getting paid for it. But on the other, you've got the status game, and that's a constant zero-sum battle for social ranking. For you to go up, someone else has to go down. And trying to win both of these games at the same time, well, that's pretty much a recipe for misery.
So, if that status game is just a trap, how do you actually win the money game? This brings us to the first skill we need to learn: hacking wealth. And spoiler alert, it's not about working harder at some job you hate. It's about something way smarter: escaping the competition entirely.
The secret to escaping all that competition is something Naval calls specific knowledge. Now, this isn't something you can go to college for or get a certificate in. It's that completely unique mix of your natural talents, your weird obsessions, and the things you are genuinely curious about. It's the stuff that feels like play to you but looks like really hard work to everybody else.
As Naval puts it, no one can compete with you on being you. It's so simple, but so profound. When you build your whole career around your specific knowledge, you're not in the rat race anymore. You're in a league of your own, literally playing a game that only you could invent.
Just think about it for a second. Could anyone else really replicate Joe Rogan's obsessive, genuine curiosity about everything? Or what about Scott Adams' unique take on corporate life that turned into Dilbert? Or Bill Watterson mixing deep philosophy with the innocence of childhood in Calvin and Hobbes? See, they didn't compete with anyone. They just created their own categories by being themselves.
And here's the best part. This isn't just for famous people. The internet has completely changed the game. It allows you to find your niche, your people, the audience that is desperately looking for your unique skill set. You can now literally scale your most authentic self to a global audience. It's amazing.
Okay, that all sounds great in theory, right? But how do you actually find your specific knowledge? How are you supposed to figure out what you personally were built to do?
Well, the map isn't out there somewhere, it's inside you. You have to forget about chasing whatever the hot career trend is this month. Instead, listen to that quiet inner voice. What were you obsessed with as a kid before anyone told you what you should be doing? What weird internet rabbit holes do you fall down for hours? That's where the gold is hidden. And you see, when you build a career around something that feels like play, the goal changes. It's not just about stacking up a big pile of money anymore. The real prize is freedom. Naval redefines retirement not as an age, but as a state of being. It's when you no longer have to sacrifice your time today for some imaginary tomorrow. You've earned freedom from money worries, and your work is just a pure expression of who you are.
Getting that financial freedom is a huge piece of the puzzle. So now, let's talk about the second skill: engineering happiness. If building wealth is an external game you play with the world, happiness is a totally internal one. And it's a game you literally can't lose, as long as you understand the rules.
Just look at the difference here. The status game is this brutal, multiplayer fight for a few spots at the top. It needs external validation. But the happiness game? That's single player. The only opponent you have is your own mind, and your victory doesn't take anything away from anyone else's. It's all internal. So what's the biggest thing standing in the way of our happiness? You might be surprised. It's our own desires. I want you to really think about this phrasing: a contract you make with yourself to be unhappy. Every single time we say, oh, I'll be happy when I get that promotion or when I buy that house, we are literally signing a contract to be miserable until that day comes.
The secret, then, is to choose your desires very, very carefully.
So the goal isn't this constant state of manic, giddy joy. The real prize, the thing we're actually after, is peace. A mind that's calm and at ease. As Naval puts it so beautifully, peace is happiness at rest, and happiness is peace in motion. That peace is the foundation that everything else is built on.
All right, so how do we actually get there? How do we win this inner game and find that sense of peace when our daily lives are so chaotic?
Naval gives us this incredibly simple but really powerful framework. In any situation that's causing you stress, you only have 3 real choices. You can work to change it, you can totally accept it for what it is, or you can leave it. All the suffering comes from being stuck in the middle, wishing things were different but not actually doing anything about it. Consciously choosing one of these paths is the way out.
Here's another great little tool for your inner game. When you're facing a big decision, like a new job, a new city, a new relationship, and you find yourself making one of those long pro-con lists, the answer is already no. In a world with endless possibilities, you should only be committing to the things that are a clear, enthusiastic heck yes.
And what about all those negative emotions that destroy our peace? Well, this Buddhist saying has a powerful metaphor for that. Anger is a hot coal you hold in your hand while waiting to throw it at somebody. You see? Resentment, jealousy, anger, they don't really harm the other person, they only burn you. Winning the inner game means learning how to just drop the hot coal.
So let's zoom out for a second and connect all these dots. What's the secret ingredient that ties together both hacking wealth and engineering happiness? It all comes down to the magic of compound interest. And I don't just mean with money, I mean with everything. Both goals require you to play long-term games.
And all long-term games, every single one, are built on a foundation of trust. Compound interest works on your reputation and in your relationships just as powerfully as it works in your bank account. Honesty, being authentic, having integrity, these aren't just nice moral ideas. They are the most practical, strategic investments you can possibly make for a rich and happy life.
So we'll leave you with this one question to think about. Forget what society or your friends or anyone else tells you to do. Look inward. What is the one thing you do where time just seems to vanish? What feels like absolute play to you but looks like hard work to other people? Because according to Naval Ravikant, the answer to that question isn't just a hobby. It's the key that can unlock everything.